Hi Gary, how are you?
Good, thanks, Leo. How are you?
Yeah, I'm very well, thank you. Very good. Gary, we've had a few more questions for you. I thought we could get through these midweek, give you plenty of time to give us a whole load more information for the weekend. So, I've got three. The first question for you: as volatility continues, and it may be for a while yet, how will Courtiers ensure that clients' investments keep a true balance between risk and opportunity, with an emphasis towards opportunity?
Okay. Well, obviously, we're very mindful that a lot of volatility has been occurring since the market responded to the pandemic in mid-February. And I've said all along that there will be more volatility. But I've also said in recent articles that volatility is the price that equity investors pay in return for the prospect of very good long-term returns, particularly compared to bonds and cash. So equity investors should not ever fear volatility, and we don't fear it. It just brings certain challenges for the investment team. One of which is that once you hit volatility, it's more difficult to protect the downside of portfolio values with put options than it is in times when there's not much volatility, and that's because the price of options goes through the roof when you hit a volatile period. However, we focus on the long-term value because our clients tend to be long-term investors. They are organisations like pension funds that are investing for many years, or private clients that are also invested for many years and generally for the remainder of their lifetimes. So we will always try and keep as fully invested as we possibly can, having regard to current conditions. And that means that we might not be quite at 110% of equity in our growth fund, because that is where we can go, but we are over 90% presently, and the rest is invested in other assets aside from cash, so there's some infrastructure investment there. So we're fairly comfortable with where we are. I think we're being sensible. It's noticeable that when markets pick up, we tend to outperform our peer groups, and that is really how we will stay. And we will be very mindful of the type of equity investments we're adding. So although I say we're just over 90% equity invested in our growth fund, we're very careful about where that 90% is allocated.
Thank you, Gary. Question two. What are your thoughts on the recent German court's response to the European Central Bank's decision on bond purchase, basically saying it was illegal? And how do you think it may affect any recovery in our economy post-virus?
Right. That's a stinker. That would take a long time to answer in detail, but let me have a go.
Please, quickly.
I don't think the Bundesbank are trying to scupper completely the ECB quantitative easing program, which has been necessary to try and keep Europe together and try and help out countries that are suffering, particularly the likes of Italy and Greece. However, the Bundesbank has a reputation of being a stickler for inflation control, and it wanted to know whether what had been done by the ECB was legal. Well, it turns out that technically it's not legal, and it's not so much for the bond purchasing as such. It's also to do with the weighting of that bond purchase and whether it correctly reflects the balance of bonds issued in the EU or the euro area. So it doesn't mean that Germany can't go on participating in the QE program. It simply means that the European Central Bank, the ECB, must come up with some proposal that satisfies the Bundesbank that it is legal with regard to the proportion of bonds from each country that it is buying. In other words, it cannot support the borrowings of a single country over the rest of Europe. It can be for quantitative purposes to generally increase money supply, but it can't be to enable a struggling European government to borrow cheaply. And that is why it was challenged as a technicality. So the ECB are now going to have to try and resolve that. There are a whole range of wider issues on the pressure that the euro and continental Europe will come under as a result of COVID-19. That is a fairly minor one.
And recovery in the UK economy post-virus as a result, will there be any impact?
From the decision in the court to have the ECB's programme taken as illegal, no, that have no impact whatsoever on what happens. We've got our own currency, it doesn't affect us, we'll go on doing things in our own way.
Sure. Thanks, Gary. One client's asked whether you think a universal income policy would work in the longer term. What are your thoughts?
The benefits of universal income policy is that it's very easy to administer. You simply give everybody in the country a minimum income, let's say £1,000 a month. Everybody gets it irrespective. You can make it taxable, so if someone's paying 45% tax, they pay that tax on their income. It's very easy to give out. Problem, however, is that unless it actually increases the amount of money paid out as welfare benefit, it's not of any real benefit to anybody. And of course, it gives money to rich and poor alike. So whilst in one sense it's a good idea, the question has got to be asked is to would the taxpayers of the UK be prepared to contribute towards such a scheme, which was paying for people who may choose simply not to work. So I think there are a lot of implications, and I do not see that as being a short-term panacea to overcome inequality. In my view, which I think is why the question is asked, does it overcome the inequality that's occurred in the last 10, 12 years, particularly with regard the fact that those who've got assets have seen their value rise, and those that haven't got assets obviously have had no assets to enjoy an increase in the value thereof. My view is that a move back to more aggressive fiscal policy would be the better method of improving equality. So I would rather see the government concentrate on capital spending, creating more jobs, creating a better economy so that we can generate income more efficiently, trying to deal with climate change, those types of things, which I think will be better for everybody, as theoretically a universal minimum wage would be. In short, not a big fan.
Gary, thank you for your views. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your questions. Any more, please keep them coming through. Once again, Gary, thank you. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Leo. Take care.
And you. Bye now.